Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Earthen's Den. And in this episode, it's going to be pretty brief, but I just want to talk to my young kids out there. Man, I can honestly say growing up, haven't been bullied. Like I said, I wasn't, if you know my story, I talked to you guys about my story. I didn't grow up impoverished. I was very blessed. My mother always took care of us. We always had home. We always had, we always had a roof over our heads. We always had water and things like that. I've always had food, and it was good food. I was very blessed to have my grandmother growing up as well because she always bought me things and made sure I was nice even when my mother couldn't afford it. So I was very fortunate as a child, but that's not really what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is the bullying. And the reason why I want to talk about the bullying is because growing up, I didn't understand it. And a lot of that lingered into my adult years and my adolescent years. And so what that eventually led to, because I didn't have anybody to talk to about the bullying, I didn't have anybody to share these experiences with. I always wanted like an older sibling, but I just didn't have that. So I realized just yesterday, it hit me like a ton of bricks, that I had this thing about being accepted. I was so tired of people saying, oh, she thinks that she's all that, or oh, she thinks that she's this, or oh, she thinks she's that. And so I hadn't realized for so many years, instead of helping people and rising to the occasion and really getting in position and being there for people, I really was like playing small. I was playing small. I was like dumbing it down, trying to be like agreeable, trying to be, you know what I mean? And I hadn't realized just how many people suffered because of that and how many people will suffer because of that. And the message to the youth is this: you don't really know what you're going to grow up to be, and that's okay. You don't know what you're going to grow up to be. But what I can tell you is when you hang around people who may not have the same privileges as you, and you want to be accepted by the cool kids, and you want to be around people who, seem like they get all the guys or all the girls, and they have all the newest Jordans, or they have all the, lace fronts or whatever, you know what I mean? It makes you feel like you're missing out on something. You feel like you need to grow up and do something that you're not really with, or you feel like you have to, put yourself out there in such a way, and it's not really true to you, or you have to do things to get people to like you, and you don't really want to do those things. I'm going to tell you right now, that starts a very vicious cycle, and it almost like it never ends until you really just wake up. And because I always had a passion for this life and for the things that I want to do, just growing up based on my own experiences, I can look at my life and I can really see the importance of just showing up and being Jalen. And it's been so many times where, I knew something, but I didn't really want to share it because I'm like, I hate to always come in like I'm the preacher kid, or I hate to always come in and I don't want to step on anybody's toes, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. And, I always was in this space where I was just behind this like light of like pretentiousness, because I wanted people to like me and I wanted people to accept me, and I didn't want to come off and make it seem like I was a know-it-all or make it seem like I was, you know what I mean? But I just realized how many people suffer because of that, because the truth is that when we don't show up for ourselves, we can't be examples for others. And whether or not you realize it, there's always somebody who's in a worse situation, or there's always somebody who's looking up to you. There's always a kid, or there's always someone in your class, someone around you who is looking up to you, someone on your Instagram or your Facebook page, or someone in your family, maybe your cousins, maybe your younger cousins are looking up to you. You know what I mean? I don't think that as a child you realize how much of your life is like blessed, or, you know what I mean? You don't realize how blessed you are as a child, because there's certain people who have things way, way worse. And, sometimes we're not always exposed to that. And so in summary, I just want to say this: if you're out here and you don't have any friends because you don't like to do what the other kids like to do, the other girls like to do, the other guys like to do, and you feel like you have to start doing things that you don't really want to do, but you kind of like, you're young, so you're experimenting, but at the same time, you're like, I really don't want to do this, but your friends are doing it and people around you are doing it. I'm here to tell you right now, stop it. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. And at the end of the day, I can tell you from almost 24 years of experience, people are always going to talk about you, and they're always going to have something to say about you. They're always going to have something negative to say about you when you do shine. They're always going to have something negative to say about you when you don't shine, and that's so real. It's so real. And it's like, I just want anybody to know, before you make a decision or before you step into a space and you feel like, you know what, I really don't want to do this, but I want to be accepted. I want this person to like me. I want to, you know what I mean? Because here's what you also have to understand. And this is something that so many people like pride themselves on. Oh, I'm such an individual. I can make my own decisions. It's not true. When you're growing up and you're young and you're trying to find your way in the world, you're trying to find who you are as a person. You're trying to figure out, what you want to do with your life. You're influenced by everything that's around you. I was very blessed because, I am 24, but I ain't too old, y'all. Don't kick me off the meter now. But I'm very young, but at the same time, when I was growing up, social media was not such a big thing. Like, I remember being on Instagram, but not really. I never really had a lot of followers on there. So what I'm saying is, I wasn't on Instagram to the extent of like what it is today. And it also wasn't as bad as it is today. Like, it was completely different then. So it's kind of like taking a turn for it's in a completely different direction. But the friends, the people you are around, they influence you greatly. If you have girlfriends or guy friends who are around you, they're not about the right things. They talking about doing this, they talking about doing that. That bad character corrupts good company. So bad company corrupts good character, and that's a Bible verse, but that's a real thing. So if you're hanging around people who are not about the right things, it's going to rub off on you, because one or two things is going to happen. You're either going to start doing what they're doing, start moving like them, because deep down inside, we all want to be accepted. We all want to just kind of feel safe, seen, and heard in our own spaces, in our own arenas. Or two, you're going to piss them off because you're not going to want to be like them. And then they're going to say, oh, you think you're better than us, or, oh, you think you know what I mean? And I'm just here to tell you right now, if people out here making stupid decisions and it has no common sense, you are better than that. Absolutely, yes. And you need to know that. And you need to understand that that is okay. And you need to understand that it is a blessing to have knowledge. It is a blessing to have resources. It is a blessing. And don't be afraid of your blessings. If you feel sorry for people, and this is what I had to learn. I felt sorry for kids who did not have the same opportunities and experience as me. So what I did and what I do now is I make sure that I give back to those kids who didn't have that. But I couldn't do that at 16. I couldn't do that in my younger years. You see what I mean? I couldn't do that at 21 because I didn't know what I didn't know. You know what I mean? And so I just want people to understand, like, please, this is your life. And when you're young, oh my gosh, I was very dramatic when I was young, and I still am a little emotional. But when you're young, it's not going to matter as much as you think. But the decisions that you do make, certain decisions can really impact your life. And what I want every young kid to take away from this podcast episode, it really doesn't matter the age. Like, if it resonates with you, then that's great. But what I need you guys to take away from this episode is that your life is so precious and it's so beautiful. And when you're young, you're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. But I just want to tell you right now, like, there's so many beautiful things in this life, and I really, really want to see our youth see those things. I'm so tired of seeing the news stories about young girls being shot from hanging out with certain people. I'm so tired of seeing the news stories about young men being killed, young men overdosing on drugs. Like, this has to stop. You know what I mean? Because there's so much life and there's so much beauty in your youth and in your innocence. You know what I mean? And I'm going to give you guys an example. I was at the bus stop, because I'm catching a bus in this season of my life. Long story, my car, honey, she's Humpty Dumpty, hunky dory, but nonetheless, I love her. So I was catching a bus, and I got off the bus, and there was this old man. He wasn't like old. When I say old man, he was an older guy. Let me say that. I'm not going to say like creepy old man, but old man. He's like, oh man, you're so beautiful. And I'm not going to say like he was like, oh, you're so like creepy. He was like, you're a beautiful young lady. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And I was like, man, this traffic light is so tough to cross the street right here. And he's like, I'm going to stop traffic for you. And I was just laughing. Like, I thought it was so funny. And he literally stopped traffic for me. And the reason why I share this story is because I need people to understand that one, not everybody in the world is bad, and not all men are bad. I think that's also another story that we're talking about, like, in the media and just the culture in itself. But it's not just about men. But let me tell you something about youth. Youth is beautiful. You know what I mean? And even though I hope to get that same experience when I'm older down the line, but youth is beautiful. And I know for myself, being youthful and maximizing on my potential and loving myself and taking care of myself, taking care of my body, making sure that I'm nourishing my mind and I'm just enjoying my days of youth overall, it reflects back to me. That was a beautiful experience, and I just want people to, I just need you guys to just hear me really clearly, like, this is your life and it's so beautiful, and even though you're going through storms, it gets so much better, but I just need you guys to stop making these decisions, that are based on what other people tell you should be like and how other people tell you should move. I want you guys to stop making decisions, doing things you're not really comfortable with because you want to be popular or you want to be liked or you want to have friends. You know what I mean? I want you guys to stop making decisions based on the social media and what they tell you to do and how they tell you to be, because I'm telling you right now, until you be yourself, until you live up to just what makes sense to you, what feels good to you, you're you're never going to be happy. You're never going to have just a sense of peace. But we'll talk about that later, because like I said, this episode was directly to my young girl, so we're not even really here about, I'm not talking about peace in this episode, but I just want to let you guys know that the decisions that you make can really impact your life. And I'm so tired of, seeing the youth life be taken away just because they're young and, they don't know much and they're around people who just, they want to be cool, they want to be seen, they want to be heard, and they don't understand. You know what I mean? So my prayer for every young person who is listening to this podcast episode is be your own person. Make your own decisions, and understand that you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. You don't have to smoke if you don't want to smoke. You don't have to drink if you don't want to drink. You know what I mean? And you don't have to hang out with people who you think are cool, because I'm going to tell you right now about this is what I know about popular kids. Popular kids, unfortunately, they grow up and they are easily influenced, and they are the most influenced because they have to be cool. They have to keep up with this image. They have to do things, just to keep people around and keep people to like them, but deep down, popular kids, they suffer the most. They suffer the most because they don't really have any real friends and they don't really have anybody who sees them, and you never really know what these kids are going through until later on in life. But I've seen popular kids get older, and I've seen them continuously, well into their 30s and 40s. Trust me, I've seen it with my own eyes. The most popular kid, it's not the person. It actually doesn't turn out to be somebody who is like on top. You know what I mean? And there's so many reasons for that. So I'm just going to tell you right now, make your own decisions, be your own person, and you're great. Like, if you don't have anywhere else to turn to Earthen's Den, honey, because I'm here for you guys. And I just, I'm tired of seeing it, and I'm just really passionate about it. And I'm definitely working to come up with a solution to this problem. So I hope everybody has a good day, and good luck with school this year, you guys. Like, really do your best, try hard, go after the sports you want to do the things that you want to do. And when people snicker and they talk about you, just understand you're doing excellently and you're exceeding everything. So don't ever be afraid to be the best at something. Be the best, and don't be afraid of being the best. You can totally be the best. So I hope this resonates with somebody, and I hope that, you guys are hearing me on this. So I've talked long enough. I've talked long enough. I'm going to leave you guys with your thoughts, and I hope everybody has a great day.